Creating engaging gameplay was a crucial step in going from this to this. Welcome to the second installment of our video series, where I'll delve deep into the development process of our Game Boy game, Pine Creek. In the first part of this series, we discussed how we created the game's storyline. Now let's turn the page and explore the philosophy and process behind creating the gameplay. Let's begin by outlining the key principles we used to design the game, drawing inspiration from both my own gaming preferences and insights from other game designers. The game only progresses when you choose to do so. There are no events that demand quick responses, making it more accessible and enjoyable for everyone, allowing you to play in a relaxed manner while doing other stuff. Most actions can be performed with a single context-sensitive button. Button layouts should be clear and intuitive, reminiscent of Nintendo classics like Mario, the Zelda series, or of course, Pokemon. We don't hold the player's hands. We let them think for themselves without making it feel like a chore. We provide clear and enjoyable instructions. Everything must be well balanced. Navigation, dialogues, and puzzles should not be overly time-consuming. Regarding navigation, if there are open spaces, they should serve a purpose and offer meaning. Otherwise, they should be more enclosed to prevent players from getting bored while wandering around. We know fetch quests can often be tedious and serve merely to extend gameplay time. If we must include them and the player won't receive rewards like in-game currency or items that enhance their experience, the rewards should be something humorous, thought-provoking, or interesting, even if it's not a tangible item. If dialogues become lengthy and aren't entertaining or engaging, we introduce an option, preferably one that allows the players to express their opinions or feelings about the ongoing events, similar to Kentucky Road Zero, letting players share their emotions. Puzzles should be interesting and encourage players to think for themselves. We avoid overusing hints and don't discourage players from using pen and paper to solve them. I genuinely love the exploration in games like Shenmue. I wanted to capture the same feeling of discovering a rich open world filled with interactive elements. Convenience stores, vending machines, I adore vending machines, restaurants, various shops, hotels, parks, and more. There are no wasted spaces. Even the empty areas invite players to contemplate and take a breath from the hustle and bustle. In other words, we aim to populate a small yet immersive world. Games like Shenmue, Night in the Woods, or Mother 3 save time on level design by advancing the story as the days pass. I didn't want to have to design multiple different towns like in other games, but I did have to find ways to make the town feel distinct and offer fresh stimuli in each cycle. I didn't want simple RPG NPCs that work like signposts, whose sole purpose is to inform the player about game mechanics. Instead, I had the idea that each NPC should have a small character arc or express their opinions about the ongoing events based on their personalities, similar again to Night in the Woods. This idea, while enhancing the game's atmosphere, added an extra 3 unexpected months of development, as I didn't anticipate how challenging it would be to create character arcs and relevant dialogues for more than 80 NPCs that evolved over 5 days. It truly embodied the Mexican saying, Pueblo Chico, Infierno Grande, which translates to small town, big inferno. Filling a scene with interactive objects sounds great on paper, but GB Studio and the hardware itself had certain limitations that required me to find alternative solutions. In many cases, such as the convenience store or the libraries, I quickly exceeded the screen's actor limit. it was a frustrating trial and error process throughout the game to adhere as closely as possible to the original idea, which aimed to populate the scene with numerous actors and graphics to convey a sense of density in a bustling city. For example, changing the positions and dialogues of each NPC in Apricot City every day to make the town feel crowded turned into a bug-testing nightmare. What will a detective be without a notebook for keeping track of clues and tasks? It's a helpful system in adventure games, and, in my opinion, more enjoyable than the navigation marks on the screen or the minimap in modern games, which often feels overwhelming. Personally, I don't appreciate having 50 colored marks on screen, guiding me to tedious tasks simply to prolong the gameplay. In Morrowind, for example, ironically, I like getting lost while searching for specific places based on written instructions in my notebook. I understand that on-screen markers make the game more accessible to casual players. I get it, I'm a tired 30-something adult. I don't have 5 hours to spare deciphering journal entries to figure out what to do and where to go. However, I believe that by simplifying navigation so much, we lose the magic of following map drawings to find hidden treasures. I thought a notebook system would be easy to implement, but GB Studio doesn't have a text system outside of dialogue events, so I had to devise an inefficient and complex system. But it ultimately proved functional. But it ultimately proved functional and satisfying. 8 notebook pages that appear as tasks are completed, with each page showing different lines of text. If we consider translations, that's a total of 60 pages, and not including the page puzzles. Again, it became a bug testing nightmare. I'm not the best programmer. In fact, I'm not a programmer at all. This meant that puzzles couldn't require an intricate programming logic. They had to be more of a literary or cinematic type, where players could solve them using their deduction skills or by simply using pen and paper. Following this philosophy saved me programming time, but introduced a new set of problems, especially with the puzzle involving reading verses from the Bible with highlighted letters, forming keywords for the investigation. The challenge lay in the translations. I was very fortunate to have the help of Portuguese and Catalan translators, and I handled the Spanish translation myself. A numerical puzzle will be universal, unless you're Roman or something, but Pine Creek's puzzles were language dependent. For each translation, I had to find a Bible in that language, identify verses from the Book of Judith that included all the letters forming the words "No Cups Under Love Hotel" in each language, and ensure the verse fit within the Game Boy small screen resolution. I was lucky that all translations so far were in Roman languages, but I can't imagine the nightmare this puzzle would have been in languages like Japanese or Chinese. I'd probably have had to leave the puzzle in English, slightly compromising the player's experience. Thank you for watching the second part of this series, and a huge thanks to our patrons for supporting this project. You're amazing! You can gain access to exclusive content and stay up to date on everything I'm working on by becoming a patron. In upcoming videos, we'll discuss art style and colorization, music and sound effects, and publishing a Game Boy game. Until next time!